Mic's on mute. Production team B, mic's on mute. Boom, mic's on mute. The 30 people in the background, mic's on mute. We have a big cast here.
Okay, looks like we have a stream. And I will cue music.
I have an idea about this if you're open to it.
Just go ahead and tell us. We are live.
Oh, we're live now, huh?
We are live.
Wow. Well, there you go. Hello. Hello, million people across the land. In the United States and in other states that may not be united.
Including the United States.
Including the United States, yeah, man. The United States, I think that we need to realize that, hey, gosh, it's in the name. We're united. But we'll get into that in a second. No, my idea was that as well, we're here just experimenting. So if anybody's watching or if anybody's going to watch this, you're going to watch an experimentation. If you want to watch it, we'd love for you to watch it. And I think that anybody's going to get into podcasting. It's actually fun. Like as we're doing this, right? We're doing this podcast. We're doing live. And what are people seeing? Are they seeing YouTube, Vinny?
Yeah, YouTube's live.
And they can see you and me?
Yep.
Okay, wave to the nice people, damn it.
Hello. Good morning.
Vinny's on the technical end, and I'm on the mouth end, apparently. Any case, the best thing about, we live in a really great time, and it's a strange time. We live in a really great time in terms of all this technology that we could be experimenting with going live on YouTube and also watching what other people have done and experiencing what they're doing. People are teaching. This is a really, really cool time. So, but anybody who's into podcasting or live streaming or whatnot, as we are, as I was saying, it's kind of fun to see the experimental ones. It's kind of fun to see other people making goofs, right? And then learning from those goofs, because that's really the iteration process. And so that's what we hope to do, is just to iterate. We did some Facebook. We did one Facebook Live. We've a few Facebook Live. We did one with the Perk and Pub podcast, and it went all right. There's some bugs that we're going to try to work out, but not for lack of trying. We got up on there, and then there you go, and that's it. I think this is really cool. It's really cool. Now, Vinny is operating all the software, everything like that, and I don't know exactly how a lot of that works. I have an idea of how it works, but I don't know exactly how it works. And it seems like it's very labor intensive to just get everything set up. Is that right, Vinny?
Only if you don't know what you're doing. So yeah.
Which I don't know what I'm doing, so it'd be very labor intensive.
Yeah, it's been. I'm working for my coffee this morning. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have coffee right there? Is that coffee in your cup?
It started off as coffee in my cup, and now it's mostly just an empty coffee cup. There's a little.
Oh, okay. All right. My idea was that we would do this for maybe, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 minutes or something like that. I don't have coffee. I have a coffee mug, but this is tea because I don't have coffee. I ran out of coffee here, and I'm like, oh, and it's decaffeinated tea. It's like tension tamer decaffeinated stuff I get for at night if I'm like, I've had a stressful day and I need to decompress. And I was like, so now I have that and just drinking it because it's hot, but it ain't coffee. So after this, if you're up for it, we can do a what do they call that, where you do something and then you evaluate what you've done? And they do that in the military, right? Military, and we were working with like this men's group and stuff like that. And so we did this thing where we were going. We had a football, and we didn't know what we were going to do, but we wanted to do something fun. And so we just had a football. Somebody brought a football, so we went to this football field, and we were just trying to kick field goals, with a bunch of dudes. And I played football, but I never would kick field goals, and it's kind of interesting to just go out there and try to kick field goals. See how far you can kick a field goal. You get an appreciation for these guys who actually do it, right? We did that. We did some other stuff, and then we came back, and he's like, "We're gonna do a ROZZB or whatever," and it was just like a you state what you did, what you were trying to do, what went wrong, what went right, and then what you want to do next time. There's some sort of an acronym for it, but I thought it was really cool. So if you're up for it, we could do that.
Sure. Yeah. I'm always up for that.
All right, cool. Let's do it, man. And I need some coffee, so already planning for the. So, anyways, we were talking about or we actually named this a pursuit of happiness, and that has been this theme this whole week for me. Not just because of the conversation we had, which was a lot of fun, and which was kind of fun. How we went on your birthday. And we kind of did that. We just had like a pursuit of happiness, right? If you think about it, like we drove out to Hatch pursuing like a burger. And then there was no burger.
A happiness burger.
A happiness burger. Yeah, but then the burger wasn't there. And so we go, well, what are we going to do now? So we go, well, let's pursue the next place, right? So let's pursue some food. Because I mean, we're blessed to be at that point when we live in a great nation that allows that. So we go against the food. No, that's not exactly what we want. Then we had to hunt for. We went and got you knew this place that had the fresh tortillas, and then we had to buy, Big Jim's. This is all in Hatch again. And we went to Sparky's, by the way, and we'll go back, but they're the ones that were closed that day. We got a cheese, and then we didn't have a knife, so we had to find a knife, and we wanted chili. We had to go find chili. We went to the one place. They didn't have it. We go to the other place. And then we drive to the place back into town, and we're going to go to this other restaurant. And as we're doing it, it's kind of crazy. And then I don't know if we talked about it at that time, but the whole idea of the pursuit of happiness is that old saying that the happiness is in the pursuit, if you will. And as you're pursuing it, therein lies the happiness. And so it's kind of cool. It's like it's not the destination; it's a journey. And now it's a lot of fun, and that's been in my mind, especially as I've been watching motivational videos, and invariably they bring up all these movie clips in these motivational videos, and they're always bringing up that movie, The Pursuit of Happiness.
That's great.
Yeah, and they show Will Smith, and he's like running. I got to sell, EKG whatever machines, but that's what he's doing is he's trying to find that happiness. Which I love that movie.
Yeah.
I love. There's two things I like about them. Just so you know, the one scene that just breaks my heart is when that little kid, Captain America, is like in the street. He dropped it, and they have to get on the bus so that they can get to the shelter before like 4:00. And he's like, "No, my Captain America." And he's like, "We have to go." And that kid's just like crying. Like that kid has one toy. I think it was Captain America. He's like has one toy, and it fell in the street. And he had to give that up. And I just thought, man, that made me sad. The second thing that I don't like about that movie, not to say I'm not trying to beat the movie down or anything, but that there's no mention or there is no presence of, and I know it's based on a true story, but still, there's no presence of a church, right? At no point, and this is a guy's choice, right? But at no point did this guy have a community of people that he can go to and say, hey, I am really, really having a hard time here. Is there anybody that can help me out, right? And that's what a church congregation should be for. I mean, again, not all of them are like that, but that's what we would strive to do is have community in the church. That's basically all it is community that you help each other out. And I thought, well, how much, I mean, it wouldn't have made a great movie. He goes up and, hey, I have some problems. Yeah, let's come work for me. Okay. The end. Roll the credits. But but in our lives, I don't know if we necessarily have to struggle that much to get something done, to do something. And yeah, and really a lot of what we know about church is not so much this spectacle that is supposed to be there so that people can go and see and feel good that they went and saw and then feel good as they walk away and then go on with their week. And I got filled up for the week. No, it's more of a place where people would go and care about each other, and know that it's a bunch of imperfect people, who can lean on each other for help, and can lean on each other for encouragement, support, can give each other ideas and whatnot. We see that in some sects, if you will, like say the Hasidic Jewish um, New York, right? They work together. They give each other resources. They talk to each other and whatnot. Now, I can't say that I know exactly what it's like. It's not like I've spent a year with Hasidics in New York, but I've talked to some guys out there, and that's kind of how it goes. Also, like Amish people and things like that, they all band together as a community. And I thought, like, man, if Will Smith, well, not Will Smith, but the character he played, if he just had that community, who knows? Like, that kid would still have his Captain America today. I wouldn't be sad about it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that whole movie really is kind of, one man against the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be based on a true story, right? That's supposed to be based on a real live person. I wonder how true to reality that actually was, or if that was just more of a sanitization of all things spiritual, from public media kind of thing. Did that guy actually have a church that he plugged into? Did he have a spiritual walk? Because I've never been in the level of despair that he was going through, but I know when desperate times hit my doorstep, my initial reaction isn't let me shut out anything external and just try and conquer all these demons on my own.
Yeah, of course. And at some point I was watching it going like, how prideful is this guy? Well, we know he's kind of prideful, though. I think they set it up at the beginning with the woman. He had pride, and that's his downfall. But that's not necessarily how the movie plays out. Again, I like the movie, but it's not a one man conquering his pride. It's one man powering through with his pride to make it work. And I kind of feel like I don't know about that. And it's like, let's watch Hitch again or something. Just want to see something different. I like a Will Smith movie, but maybe not this one. So and also at the same time as I say this, I'm kind of talking ideals in terms of church and whatnot, because we know that, and I think many of us have been a part of churches, that you do say, hey, I'm having a hard time. And you say, does anybody out there know of like a place that's hiring? I can't find a job or something like that. And the people are like, oh, gosh, it sounds like it's going to be hard, but just keep working at it. You want to come with us to Church's Chicken? It's like, no, I don't have money. I can't go to Church's Chicken with you. It's like, well.
But it's delicious.
It's delicious. They have the greatest biscuits. And you're like, maybe I'll go and pick up an application at Church's Chicken. So, and that's in the scriptures as well. It says when anybody who like his brother's sick or something like that, or needs something, and you say, well, good luck. I hope you get better, and just walk away when you have the means to help them in some sort. It doesn't mean you have to like shell out a bunch of money. It could mean like taking the guy like some soup or something, or just sitting with him or whatever. But to say like, gosh, I hope you feel better, that's yes, it's the antithesis of what we should be doing as Christians. I'm a Christian, you're a Christian, and so that's what we should be doing, is just be helping out each other. I believe that if we were to actually do that, if we were to have a community like that really gelled, if you will, in terms of supporting each other and helping each other find work, helping each other find mates, and really understanding the world and navigating this world in a beautiful way and showing people love. I think that all the naysayers, the atheist folks, they'll look at that in a different light and say, you know what, this whole thing's not a bad thing. These guys aren't as screwed up as we thought they were, because it's not a matter of what we're doing, it's a matter of why we're doing it. So but in any case, back to the pursuit of happiness. So one is that we have this pursuit that we did on your birthday, which was a lot of fun. The second thing is that we do have this pursuit of happiness in the United States. It says, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I think, though, and I'm not the first person to point this out, but it's not so much the pursuit of pleasure. And I think that's where we get knocked off base. It's like, but, eating this big jar of mayonnaise, it makes me happy. It's like, no, it gives you pleasure, but it won't make you happy because you'll feel horrible about it, right? So there's no wisdom, I think, behind it. There is an intrinsic wisdom that used to be behind it, but we've sacrificed that at the sake of just pleasure. I'm not trying to do a preach thing, but I get there anyways. So, but this the pursuit of happiness is not the pursuit of pleasure, and I think when we have a pursuit of pleasure type thing, we just go into just flat out hedonism. And that's not a good thing. That's never helped out any society ever, right? Like hedonism has been the downfall of societies, actually. And so who knows? But in any case, therein lies kind of the crazy thing, because when it comes to happiness, if we can't have what happiness and joy is grounded in wisdom, we automatically turn towards pleasure. It doesn't matter who we are. We will turn towards pleasure. And so the whole idea of the pursuit of happiness within ourselves, we don't know what exactly happiness is. We can't define it. And I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm just saying the general person. You ask somebody, what would make you happy? And a lot of times if you ask that of somebody, you'll get answers like, well, a nicer paying job. Maybe if I lost some weight, that would make me happy. Or if I did, maybe if I finished my novel, that would make me happy, or something like that. And I don't know if that's necessarily happiness as much as that's just this feeling of sensation. Maybe the novel one is not it, because it's when you think about money. Let's go back to money. It says, "What would make you happy if I won the lottery?" It's like, okay, but why would that make you happy? Well, because I'll have money and I won't have to worry about money anymore. And you say, okay, but why would you want the money? Also, I can buy things that I want. Why would you buy the things you want? Because I like those things. And then it's, as you can see, we kind of go down that road, and it's all the way down to, well, why would you buy X, whatever it is? Well, because I like it, because I want it, and it's like, well, then we're actually in the pursuit of pleasure at that point. And so we don't have that understanding of what happiness is. And if you look at what's Avatar said over the years, and some of the philosophers and everything like that, basically, like, happiness is happiness gives, right? If you give happiness, if you have the freedom to give something that would make another person happy, that gives us happiness inside, right? Not to sound too mushy or whatnot, but that's just the way it works. Getting something just gives us a certain pleasure that deteriorates over time. But giving some happiness to another person, that just continues to build and build and build, because you have memories of it, memories of it, memories of it. And I think that that's what the true pursuit of happiness is. And when we see it as that, then we can say, okay, then how do we pursue giving other people? How do we have complete freedom to give other people happiness? And going back to that movie, it would be, how do we have the freedom to help this dude out? And if we help that dude out, that would make us happy. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I like the way that you put that, happiness is about helping, bringing happiness to others, or helping others achieve their happiness. Because I think when we start thinking about, happiness, we instantly just start thinking about our own happiness, not necessarily going straight to, well, the satisfaction you get from helping others. At least that's me, and maybe I just admitted how selfish and self-centered I am.
We all are. Yeah.
I mean, at least, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I know that's me. But I mean, you're absolutely right about it. I think, there's the notion that you can't really help somebody else unless you're in a place. Well, I mean, look at without making it super abstract. Look at, financial. If you want to help somebody financially, the best way you can help somebody financially is to be financially well off. You come from a place of abundance, and you have much more opportunities to help somebody that doesn't have that same abundance in that area. Would you agree with that?
I say, yeah. I think that would be. I think that's valid.
Okay.
I definitely think that's valid. The only sound of tentative hesitation I have is that there's an underlying. Well, I'll take an aside. The two. So when Jesus was asked, like by these Jews, as Jewish leaders, as Pharisees, from what I understand and whatnot, he's basically, like these dudes who knew the law, if you will, Moses' law. He said, what is the greatest commandment? And he says, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, and to love and the second is like the first, to love your neighbor like yourself. Go to churches and they say like, Jesus gave 2 commandments, and that this is this and this is this, and I say, no, he didn't. He's reciting what the Jews have, since the commandments were given. The first is in Deuteronomy. It's called the Shema, and it's love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, and then it goes on for like a long. 3 or 4 verses with all these things that you need to be doing, and that's all part of that one commandment. The Shema, what they call it, the Shema, and when you say love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, you're basically just giving the title of the commandment. I like to say it's kind of like when you're, if you say, what's your favorite movie? You say Titanic, and a person says, ooh, yeah, and they look at you, they say, Titanic, wow, that is good. And you say, have you seen it? You go, what do you mean? I did. You just said it, Titanic. And you said, no. Like, have you seen the movie Titanic? You're like, what do you mean? It's like, it's a representation. It's the title of a movie. So that love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might is a title of a commandment that goes a lot deeper than that. And the second one, of course, he says, like the first, love your neighbor like yourself. That's also kind of goes a little bit deeper. You should not hold a grudge or whatnot. So a lot of people, and this is a long point, so bear with me, a lot of people will say like, well, these 2 commandments, and of course, on another side note, Jesus did give one commandment that wasn't given before. He says, I give you this one commandment, this one new commandment I give unto you, that you love each other as I have loved you. Like, that's the one that he actually did give, which is really cool, which I love that one. Anyways, people will say, well, if these 2 great commandments are love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, and then love your neighbor like yourself, then I need to learn how to love God and really, really love God before I can love my neighbor. And it's like my neighbor, he's like, hey, I need help. It's like, oh, shut up. I'm in here trying to love God. But that's not how it works. It's not this chronological thing. It's like how we love our neighbor is how we love God. And if we love God truly, we will love our neighbor. It goes up and sideways. It's all 3-dimensional. Really, really cool. So with that in mind, when somebody says, well, the way for me to help somebody financially is for me to make a lot of money so that I have money, or just make a fair amount of money so I have money to give to people who need help. Yes, it's valid. That's a valid point. However, at the same time, there's a way to help somebody financially without you having money, right? You could have 0 money and say you're our buddy. Let's say we have a buddy. His name is Jonathan, and he has his business, and he comes and he says, I'm having a hard time with my business. What's the matter, John? He's like, I've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I have to get done, and I'm feeling really stressed out. And you say, oh man, like B? What is B? You got to do that? It's like, heck, I can do that for you in like a second. Let me do that for you. Okay, send it to him. He's like, oh dang, you just saved me so much time, and I was going to contract dude do it. He's going to $500. You just saved me $500 in 3 days. Doing it. You're like, cool, man. Then have at it. I just want to see you succeed. And you get a couple other friends and they do that. Now you've helped him be financially, he can take that and his business starts to grow and he's financially successful without any transfer of money from one person to the next. It's just caring for that person and doing what we can to support, encourage, and maybe contribute to what they have. And just in that simple way, in that just one little example.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then it can even be as, I mean, things that we do for each other when we encourage each other, or when we're just a sounding board for another person. Um, so they say, you know, I'm having this, or what do you think of this idea, or something like that? I think it's great. You might want to tweak it with this. You know, and all of a sudden that turns into like $1 million idea. There is something that we can help. And not to belabor it, but say we have some like single mother who has whose car breaks down, and we say, hey, look, you know, my buddy Mike owes me a favor. I'll take your car over there to him. He'll get it fixed up, bring it back to you. You'll be good, right? Okay, there you go. You've helped out that woman without having to give her any money. It's just the good things that you had done sideways, laterally, and whatnot in the past, calling on favors and then helping them out.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. It's almost a chicken or the egg sort of thing. It's more like chicken and the egg. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yes, do the things that you need to do to, you know, to, I mean, somebody that's moping around and depressed isn't necessarily the best person to cheer somebody up. But if you're moping around and depressed and you see somebody that needs to be cheered up, possibly, you know, cheering them up, talking to them, is the best thing for you too. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't necessarily need to wait until you have a smile on your face to you know.
When they're smiling,
Yeah, exactly.
the whole world smiles with you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But if you at the same time, if you are somebody that's walking around, you know, kind of floating around, just feeling good, uh, you may be in a good place to cheer somebody up. You also may be in a terrible place to cheer somebody up, because maybe somebody that's you know, feeling down doesn't necessarily want, you know, somebody that's whistling down the street and can't stop smiling, and you know, that's not necessarily the person they want to talk to, perhaps.
Yeah, it says it also says, I think it's in a proverb, it says something like if somebody isn't basically they're mourning or they're depressed or something like that, and morning you come to them with like a happy word or something like that you're bad. Like we don't go to people who are in mourning and say like, well, cheer up there, just put a happy face on. That's actually hurting that person, because that's neglecting and it's minimizing their hurt. It's taking their hurt and just saying, it doesn't matter, you know, just be happy like me, look, I'm happy.
Yeah.
When that person is really, really hurting inside.
Yeah.
I think we put a lot of stock in money. And here's the funny thing, and then I didn't know we were going to have this many Bible references, so if people don't like the Bible, they don't have to listen to it. But that it says, Jesus says, store up your treasures in heaven. Mm-hmm. Don't store up your treasures on earth where moths can and eat and thieves can steal and just rots away. Store up your treasures in heaven, right? And it's that same thing. So if we went the world, and this is idealist Jason, Bernie Sanders Jason, you know, even though I don't want to vote for Bernie, I like Bernie, didn't want to vote for him. Take that as what you want. But I did go to his rally. I wanted to hear him talk. He's a neat dude. Anyways, if we went through life and we just put things into a community trust account, meaning our actions, the things that we do, like we're just doing things for other people, just doing things, trying to help other people. It's like Zig Ziglar says, you can have everything you want in life if you help other people get what they want in life, right? If we just went through that, just doing stuff for other people, then all that has a value. It may not have a tangible monetary value, but it comes around, it helps us. There's a story with Larry King. This is what Cal Fussman, I think, was talking about. But you got to listen to those podcasts on Tim Ferriss. Cal Fussman. He has two of them. Yeah, it's you You won't be disappointed.
Okay.
Anyways, he talks about how Larry King was starting out this little radio station or something like that, just starting out a long time ago. And he was sitting with some people, and I guess he was friends with Jackie Gleason, and Jackie Gleason was kind of up and coming at the time. But Jackie Gleason was sitting there at the table with these other people, and Larry King posed a question, or he posed a question to everybody at the table. He says, "What is impossible?" And the different people went around, dot, 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 this is impossible, or this is impossible, such and such. And then I think it was Jackie Gleason asked him, he says, "Well, Larry, what's impossible to you?" And he says, "Having Frank Sinatra on this show." This is when Frank Sinatra was like at the height of his career.
Okay.
I mean, the top, tippity top.
Not when he was dead.
No, yeah.
That would be quite impossible.
Well, you can do a lot with reanimation these days. Anyways,
Yeah.
he says, and Jackie Gleason looks at him and he says, "You got it." Right? And he's like, "What?" I got it. And so it turns out that behind the scenes, Jackie Gleason had done a show, and I think it was in Las Vegas, and Frank Sinatra got sick, and he couldn't do the show, and Jackie Gleason happened to be there, and I guess they kind of knew each other from working circuit and whatnot, and he says, "You got to go on for me." He goes, "I can't go on, and these people paid, and they need to see something. Go on and do your bit and whatnot." So Jackie Gleason goes, "Okay." He goes, "I'll go on." He says, "But you owe me one." And like Frank Sinatra's like, "Oh, okay, I owe you one." So he called in that favor, and he told Sinatra, he says, "Hey, remember that favor?" He's like, "Of course I remember." He's like, "This time I'm calling it in." So he says, "There's this guy, his name is Larry King. He's on this tiny radio station out in like Miami or something like that." And he says, "And you're going to be a guest on his show." And Sinatra goes, "Okay." And so he calls up Larry King. He says, "Okay, Sinatra's going to be on your show on this such and such day." He goes, "What do you mean?" And he says, "Yeah, he's going to be on your show." "Oh, all right." So he sets the time up. We're going to have Frank Sinatra on. I mean, it's like if Magic 105 had Oprah. This is how crazy it was. But they said, "Yeah, it's going to happen." They didn't get any confirmation, nothing, until like 2 minutes before they were going live.
Huh.
And Frank Sinatra walks in the door with his like entourage of people or whatnot.
Wow,
and
so he was actually there.
He showed up. Yeah, he
Wow.
showed up. I mean, they didn't have Skype in those days.
Yeah.
I know.
Phones,
contrary to popular belief. Yeah, you ruined my joke. Anyways, so he shows up and like Frank Sinatra's there, and Larry King's looking at him like, "Oh, he's really here." And he's like, "Oh, wow." And so Larry King's first question to Frank Sinatra is, "Why are you here?" It's crazy. And then he just goes through the whole thing and telling him how he owed Jackie Gleason a favor, what happened, and he's making good on his favor, and all this other stuff. So having Frank Sinatra on his show, of course, did a hell of a lot for Larry King, and Larry King kind of, jump-started everything that Larry King was. And so that is just an example where Jackie Gleason used no money whatsoever. He just he just did what he was doing. He was who he was. Just, hey, I'll help this. He helped out Frank Sinatra. Yeah, I'll help you out. I'll go out there. Then he helps out Larry King. Hey, you got it. I'll help you out. And then everybody, like all ships rise with that tide.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful example of how the true currency, if you will, of success flows through who we are and what we do.
True.
Yes, money can do a lot. Solomon says money solves all problems. But so does a good network, and so do good friends, and so does a couple favors, right? And if if I owe a person a favor, hey, I'm going to make good on that, do my best, and vice versa, right?
Yeah. So can I tie that back into the pursuit of happiness?
Yeah, of course. What do you got?
Yeah. So here's Larry King, and he's on a radio show. This is before he's on TV. He's grinding it out, and he's doing the thing that he loves.
Mm-hmm.
And part of doing the thing that he loves, these things happened, and then he has Jackie Gleason on, right? So kind of building up to that point, and by just continuing to keep with that pursuit and not say, I'm never going to get Frank Sinatra on, so why do I do this? Why do I bother? Like I'm just going to always be this small town, radio host, and
Mm-hmm.
um, what's the point? Why do I keep this pursuit?
Yeah, he was actually Larry Prince at the time.
Larry Prince, okay. Oh, that's funny, man. Good one. But instead, he keeps going and he works his way up. He gets Jackie Gleason on the show, and next thing you know, he's standing face to face with what he thought was impossible.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
impossible is right there in front of him.
and all it
Possible.
all it takes is just not quitting.
Yeah, just that pursuit.
That pursuit. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. So as much as I guess you kind of threw me off earlier because you framed the pursuit of happiness as doing for others, and I can't argue with that. I 100% agree that happiness is a helping hand on both ends. Um, but at the same time, happiness is sticking with the thing that that deep down that you love, um, even though you have to do it on the side, or you have to wake up early and do it before you go to work, or you gotta punch in after the family goes to bed, and you know knock out a couple of pages in your book, or make a podcast. um, I think, and this is where, if I can kind of do a micro plug, this is exactly what I'm shooting for, as I'm designing, the podcast, the creator's pursuit, is those people that are putting in the extra work, because they know that this thing is it's connected to their heart, and by just continuing that pursuit, they're fulfilled in ways that their life would be so much lacking had they not made that choice. Had they just said, well, that's not working, so I have to go just do my job and forget about my dreams.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it is the dreamer's pursuit. It really is.
Hmm. Well, and it's also, I read, I think it was the Peter Diamandis in the um, Tools of Titans, that, and I think he took it from somebody else, but and acknowledged that. But it said, the purpose of life is a life of purpose,
Hmm.
and therein lies also, like, what is that purpose? Like, it might be one thing to say, hey, I need to be a great rock star or something like that, right? But that's not so much a purpose as it is a goal. Why would a person be a great rock star? Maybe because, or like say, well, I want to have I want to sing for people because I know I can touch their hearts with my words and my music. Well, there you go. That's a purpose. Being a rock star is just a, a, a what, right?
Hmm.
It's like Simon Sinek, start with why type thing. And but at the same time, to touch on what you had said, that yeah, so many people, they for one, like I said, we don't know what we should be pursuing. And the second thing is, even if we do know, it's scary. It's scary to pursue that, because, like you said, not only is it scary, it's uncomfortable. A lot of times, it's uncomfortable to be working, and it can be depressing, flat out depressing, to be working on something over and over and over again and not see anything, or see just the so small returns. You're like, why am I doing this? And is what I'm doing actually worth it? that we just want to give up. But like you said, if you have that in your heart and you say, I know that this is good, I know there's something great with what I'm doing, then to keep on going at it. Not your frame and describing this podcast that you're working on. That it's and I like the word grind. It's a grind, but it's a good grind. It's a good kind of grind, if you will.
Yeah.
I was just it made me remember Matt Greening, and I was thinking about that as I was running, and I use that term loosely because I haven't ran in a while, so it's more like struggling. But I was thinking about how I'm, because I wrote in my journal. I'm supposed to call it journals. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Call it a journal. How, as we were talking about that whole rain dancing the other day, that if I just keep on going, that something will happen. It will rain if I just keep on dancing, right? And I thought about Matt Greening and how he is very similar to me, or at least he was very similar to me. He had his comic Life in Hell. I've got a comic Perk at work, right? Make these zines, and I would make my zines, and that was his baby, Life in Hell. And when this producer saw the zine and thought, this is pretty funny, let's call this guy, see if he can do something for us. This was for that Tracy Ullman show. They brought him in, and he's like, oh, we might want to have you, we read what you did, you're funny, like, we might want to use you in our show. And he's like, well, I'll be damned if I give him Life in Hell. He's like, that's my baby. That's my big asset, right? That's my brainchild. So I'm not going to give him that. So I got to figure out what to give him. And he's like, how about a family with a goofy dad and a mom and a kid or something like that? He draws these things up, and then he goes into his meeting. And he's like, oh, yeah, they're called The Simpsons. And they're like, oh, wow, this is cool. We like it. And then, of course, as you know, like they say, the rest is history. His Life in Hell never, and probably will never reach it'd probably be impossible to reach the success that The Simpsons has, right? It's just, Simpsons is just monumental. So his original vision, his dream didn't make it, or his product didn't make it, but he did. His mind still created it. Whether it was Life in Hell or The Simpsons or Futurama or whatever, it rained for him in a way he didn't think it would, but it still did rain.
Yeah, and so just to give a little context to the folks that are listening, the reference to the rain dancing was a tribe, and I can't remember where or if you even said where. But a tribe.
I believe Tony Robbins had mentioned it. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But I don't remember what tribe it was.
Okay. All right. But it was a tribe that essentially proved that rain dancing worked, and the way that you described 100%. It was 100% success rate, right? And all you have to do is keep dancing until it rains.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
Yeah, that's 100% of the time that's going to work. Just don't move to the desert. I mean, unless you just really like to dance. Yeah.
It's kind of interesting you say don't move to the desert, and it's kind of funny. With this rain dancing, I was having a conversation, I may have shared this with you, with a friend of mine, about the whole idea that you could move mountains, like faith can move mountains. And it's so foreign to us. It's like, I have faith and that mountain's not moving. And what if somebody else has faith and the mountain should stay there? And all this. And we happen to be climbing a mountain as we're talking about it. So I looked over at her and I go, I believe that the faith can move mountains. I says, but we gotta move forward, right? And I says, but think of it this way. We're walking up the side of this mountain. We're just hiking up the side of it. When we get to the top, if we were to hike down the other side, we move that mountain behind us.
Yeah. And as you're climbing, you're moving it below you as well.
Exactly. We are actually moving that mountain. Say, well, you're moving on top of it. Says, it doesn't matter. We are still where we're at, but the mountain has changed position, if you will.
Yeah.
And therein lies the faith. It's, faith without works is dead, right? We got to have that action. It's kind of like that whole law of attraction. I think I was telling you about it. You got to have that last part of the word, the action part for the law of attraction. Put the action in your law of attraction.
Yeah.
And one part is attract and one part is action, and you gotta just move forward and do it. But like I was writing in the journal, I was saying I want to do that. I want to just do my rain dance, my perk at work, and my writings and all this stuff until it rains or I die. Like those are two things. Like one of those is going to happen.
Yeah.
Before the other. If I die before it rains, then I'm not really going to care anymore. So that kind of solves that problem. But if I reach it before I die, then that solves the problem too. I actually feel the rain, and just keep on going, right?
Yeah. Well, and it comes back to your reasons. You know, mm-hmm. Like if you're playing music because you want to be a rock star, if you never become a rock star, you're gonna be just in despair. You're gonna be a failure, you mm-hmm. know, because that's your reason for playing music, right? If you do this podcast so that you can have 1 million subscribers, then you're a failure until you get 1 million subscribers. But if you do it because it's what's within you and you just can't help but let it out, mm-hmm. And you actually get joy in every episode, then at that point you've already succeeded. You've already won. And why would you stop at that? Why would you stop? Mm-hmm. So it comes down to your reason for doing what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. And just to share with you, and I'm working on my manifesto for my website. I want to, with my writings, I was telling you the other day, I want to write in 3D. I want to give people an experience, an immersive experience with these characters who are doing things that folks can relate to and have an emotional response to and an intellectual response. I want to touch people's hearts and minds and have them dig deeper into these characters, and then have the material and the writings and everything like that so that people can dig deeper and find more about not just the characters, but find more about themselves, friends, understanding people, understanding situations, and have a lot of fun doing it. Have the humor there, have the mystery, have just a really fun time. And if I can, it's going to start off small, of course it already is. And if it iterates just ever so slowly, but I've created this thing, then I think that's for me, I'm happy with that. I'm happy to know that I've been able to communicate, true communication, that transfer of thought and emotion from one person to the next, even if we're not in the same room, is why I'm doing it. Because I think that's life, is transferring our thoughts and emotions to other people and growing and learning from each other. And if we can do that on the friendship level, if we can do it on the family level, or if we can do it on the professional level, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, and shameless plug for me. Speaking of which, I don't know if this goes backwards, if it's backwards on the screen or whatnot, but this is my new book, Sugar Skull Ghost Thief, available on Amazon, and print and ebook, and also ebook on Barnes & Noble, Kobo, iBooks and such. And anybody who wants it.
You've got your release party coming up next this Thursday, the 25th, right?
Yes, yeah, at Amaro Winery. So everybody across the United States, go to Las Cruces, New Mexico next Thursday. No, it's actually a very small venue. It's not a super small venue, but it's a small, cozy venue, beautiful place, nice, fun place. We should have a good amount of people, and we should have a lot of fun. Yeah, so
that's Thursday, May 20. What did I say? 5th?
May 25th. Yeah.
May 25th. 5:25.
So
2017.
people who are watching this in the year 2078, don't go this Thursday, and because I won't be there.
But still go to Amazon and purchase the book because it'll still be there.
We'll see. We'll see. Alibaba is making maybe some strides, right?
Okay, well.
I got to put on Alibaba.
There you go. So and other than that, folks should subscribe to the YouTube channel. We did some stuff on Facebook Live, but I think we're going to be migrating into YouTube. Is that correct?
Yeah, I love YouTube, and I'd like to use YouTube more. And we also have some, as we progress and if people are following us, we have some ideas of what we're going to do with this Perk and Pup. Some really fun, crazy ideas, and we'll see where we go from there. Just real quick, I'm going to make another shameless plug. Anybody who wants to know about my book can also go to my website at jason-salas.com. That's JASON-SALAS.com, and then we'll put those in the show notes, or put that in the show notes at least.
Yeah, and you can also find Jason at Perk at Work on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yeah, at Perk at Work on Facebook.
Instagram.
At Perk at Work on Instagram. At Perk at Work on Twitter, and it should be the at Perk at Work also on YouTube.
Yes, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Very good. Well, episode number 5 in the books. Anything you want to add before we close it out?
In the YouTube books. It's in the tubes.
It's in the tubes, man.
The only thing I want to add is that if there were some glitches in this episode, we're learning from them, and we hope to iterate and get better. But that's all we can do, right? Not just with YouTube, but in life. Iterate, get better, work on it, and be happy in that pursuit.
Very good.
All right, well, let's shut it down, and let's go get some coffee.
Coffee. Gonna look at my logo and give me some advice on it, okay?
All right, let's do it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Good Friday.
Yep.